Hey, I'm Milan, and welcome to Volume 2 of the Course Podcast.
And it's Pierre Jerome. Pierre Jerome has plenty of space. Just her and Ben. Pierre Jerome, her second of the
Welcome back to the Course Podcast. I'm your host, Milan Pierre Jerome, and I'm here with Omar on the George Mason men's volleyball team. How are you today?
I'm Milan. I'm going good. Thanks for having me again, and I'm glad to be here, be part of the podcast. Yeah,
I'm glad you're back. It was a great episode. We had to do it again.
Yeah. So good to run it back.
But how are you today? How's everything?
Doing good.
Post-season?
Like you guys know, yesterday was the athlete banquet, and a really fun way to finish off the year with all the athletes together and some food and all the athletes getting awarded for really fun things. Like we talked about, I just won Athlete of the Year.
Yes,
so
big deal.
Pretty cool deal. Wasn't expecting. I knew I was nominated, and they asked me you can put down a song. So whatever, I just put down a song, and then there was another eight athletes being nominated for Male Athlete of the Year. Ended up winning it, so I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And a few of my teammates won, Sam Peters won Best Hair.
Yeah.
Superlatives, and then Colin won Iron Man.
I did see that. Yeah.
Even though he knows he's just not the strongest on the team. But, it's been good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I mean, we're about to graduate. I don't think it's really hit me yet that we're graduating. I'm not nervous, but I want to get that feeling like I'm about to graduate college, because we didn't have a graduation. Well, I didn't have a graduation in 2020. So to be able to actually walk across the stage will be insane, but I'm definitely excited about that.
Yeah. Graduation is next week.
Yeah.
Next week, graduation pictures and all that.
Yep.
Our season's also over. Last week we played at the conference championship conference tournament at Penn State. We won our first match, the semifinals. And the finals looked pretty well. We won the first set against Penn State.
Yeah.
And I don't know, they just played better than us.
Yeah.
They ended up winning. And overall, I think it was a great tournament,
Yeah.
good season.
Yeah.
Jack Bowles and I won all.
First team.
It was conference
tournament,
all team.
Okay.
And then I ended up the season getting first team, all conference, and then Jack and Paul Wyszynski got second team, and then a few other guys got honorable mention.
Wow.
So, I think as a whole, out of my 4 years I've been here, this is by far the best season.
The most successful.
Nationally ranked. We upset a few teams, like number 3 UC Irvine back in January. So,
wow.
I think it was a good season. Sad it's over, but I think it was time to move on already.
That's good. That's amazing. Good for you. Good for you guys. Good for you guys. But, I wanted to have you on this episode because I think you have an amazing story, coming out of Puerto Rico, coming here, doing great things like you just said. So I just wanted to get you on here to have people hear about your journey.
Of course.
All right. So let's talk about your early childhood. I know you're from Puerto Rico. So how is growing up in Puerto Rico?
Yeah, so born and raised in Puerto Rico. I lived there till I was 14, 15 years old. Really fun. I loved it. I wouldn't change it for anything. I know living in Florida, which is where I lived my last years of high school, was really fun, and lifestyle is a lot better than Puerto Rico. But all the friendships you do, all the friendships you get, all the sports, all the tournaments you play with your friends, and just even your neighbors are everyone's like this together. And there's just a sense of, obviously all my family's over there as well.
Right.
And the food and the culture, the music and the beaches and the temperature and the climate, all that just adds up together to kind of a really simple and hectic, but very simple and lavish lifestyle. Even though maybe you might not be living lavishly.
Right.
But
you still get all those things.
Being able to drive 20 minutes to the beach, sit down, hang out with your friends, and then go play soccer or volleyball or whatever, beach volleyball with your friends. It's really nice. Nowadays it's a little different.
Right.
I think when I grew up in the early 2000s, it was a little bit easier to live there if you were kind of in the middle class. Okay. Nowadays it's a lot harder.
Really?
I have a few friends who are still there, but they're already graduated college, so they're doing well. But I think, I wouldn't change it for anything. It's a Caribbean country with a lot of
Right.
culture.
Yes.
And
You love that.
it has a lot of similarities to the U.S., even though a lot of people don't know, which is really funny.
Right.
A lot of people like talk to me like we're from like a third, fourth world country.
Right.
And in a sense, yeah, it could be. But in another sense, like there's just a lot of things that are very similar.
So there's so many things that people just have to experience to understand. You've been able to experience both sides.
Yeah.
So it's cool just to be able to have that, life story and tell people about it, So where in Puerto Rico were you born?
So I was born in Caguas, Puerto Rico, which is it's like 30 minutes south of San Juan.
Okay.
So it's like technically the center of the island.
Okay.
But Puerto Rico's so small. Puerto Rico's only like 35 miles from north to south.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So
okay.
you can get from north to south in like an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, from the middle to the north or the south would be 30 minutes. It's actually one of the biggest populated cities in Puerto Rico.
Really? Okay.
I went to school there, but then I would drive up for sports or like my elementary school.
Okay.
I would drive up 20-ish minutes to San Juan.
Okay.
That's where I played soccer. That's where I played volleyball growing up, and most of the better clubs were at.
Okay.
And that's where most of my friends lived as well. So I don't know. My parents liked it down there. We had a really nice house with a pool, but yeah, I would do it all over again if I had the chance.
Yeah, that's amazing. So your parents are also Puerto Rican. They were born in Puerto Rico as well.
Yeah. So well, my mom was. My dad's Dominican.
Okay.
My dad was born and raised in the Dominican Republic.
Really? Okay.
Till he was like 3 years old.
Okay.
So he wasn't raised, but all of his brothers were born there.
Okay.
And then my grandma, she was fully Dominican. And
really?
for all the like international tournaments I go play, we usually play Dominican Republic because we're in the same region. And every time she's watching, she sends me a text like, I'm watching you, I'm supporting you, but I'm supporting Dominican Republic. So win, but I wouldn't mind them winning either.
It would be okay if they won too. No, that's like me because I'm Jamaican and Haitian. So like, when I'm playing with Haiti and I'm playing against Jamaica, my grandparents are like, like we want you to win, but if Jamaica wins, it's okay. So I can understand that. But no, yeah. So going back to like, playing sports and starting sports, what made you start volleyball? Were there any other sports?
There was a lot of sports. I think volleyball was one of the last ones I ended up choosing.
Really?
I started playing baseball, so my parents, my dad is really big into like basketball and just sports. My mom wasn't, but she wanted us to be active.
Okay.
So my older sister, she did all this. She did volleyball, she did soccer, she did baseball, baseball, softball back in the day. And then I loved baseball because Puerto Rico baseball is like the number one
top
sport.
tier,
It's just all the players go to the MLB and play. So I did that most of my life, and then I would like sometimes play soccer. Then my older sister played volleyball, so I kind of would go to her practices and play here and there.
Yeah.
But I played baseball till I was like 10, 11.
Okay.
And then I kind of got bored of it because our team was like actually kind of really good.
Okay.
And it would be like 2.5 hours in the sun just doing nothing in the outfield or
just
pitching.
Winning,
So then I tried soccer and I tried volleyball. And those are the two sports I ended up sticking with. I did a little bit of basketball here and there. But again, in Puerto Rico, volleyball is kind of like a football is here. And so it's really big because you got, beach volleyball as well. But it's a sport that the Caribbean countries like a lot.
Okay. Indoor volleyball or beach volleyball?
I would say both. I think indoor is a little bit more played in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
People play beach for fun because they can go to the beach and play, but there's not, I wouldn't say it's as big as it is in like Brazil. So yeah, people play volleyball growing up and there's a lot of teams, which is something you don't see here in the U.S.
No.
And I don't know. I enjoyed it. I'd made a lot of friends playing volleyball, and I was like, okay, I think I'm pretty good at this. But at the time, I was also really good at soccer.
Okay.
I played for like the U14 Puerto Rico team back in the day.
Oh wow. Okay. What position were you playing?
I did a little bit of everything. I started as a keeper, but I ended up being a forward, striker.
Okay.
But I honestly went through everything. I played center back once and then midfielder for like a couple of years. So I had a little bit of that, and I really enjoyed playing soccer because that's where all my friends were at.
Right.
And I thought I was like pretty good too. But I don't know, something happened. I kind of realized I was like, I could be a lot better at volleyball.
Right. So when did you realize that?
I don't think I realized. I think my dad did.
Okay.
My dad would push me a lot. Like we would wake up and like go to the court and just practice that and soccer at the same time. So I just could get better at both. But yeah, basically I did that, and then I moved to the U.S.
Okay.
And I went to Archbishop McCarthy, and there I did both volleyball and soccer. The problem was I wanted to do both soccer club and volleyball club, but as we talked about, with academies and the best teams in Florida, you have to, you can't play high school soccer, and you gotta devote your time entirely to soccer.
Right.
And I was like, I can't do that because I'm like pretty good at volleyball. And I need to play volleyball. So yeah, basically, I was like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna be able to play soccer. I'm gonna stick to volleyball. And the problem in Florida with volleyball was for men's volleyball, it's big, but it's not as big as California. So the better teams at my time were in Orlando. But I lived down in South Florida.
Right.
So I would have to drive up 2.5 to 3 hours every Sunday.
Wow.
And that's when I would practice.
Really?
And then I had to play 2 years up. So I was 15, I would play 17s.
Wow.
And then when I was 16, I played 18s because I think my dad realized for the level I was at, there was no good teams
at your age.
At my age that I could play and get better. And I think that was one of the parts where I got really good at was I was able to play up with guys that are so much more mature and better than me.
Right.
But I kind of fit it in pretty well too. And then I don't know, I just kept playing, and I realized I was good, and then the Puerto Rico national team started calling me, the junior national team, and eventually I ended up playing in the World Championship last year. So it's a long story, but it is very complicated, but I think I'm glad there's a different path I could take. I probably wouldn't. I would do it all over again too. And
your dad he played a big role in that, in your success, just being able to go wake up with you, and he played a big role in that.
I hated it back in the day. As a kid, you're 12, 13 years old, and you're like, I don't want to wake up right now, but it's all worth it. It's all worth it. They know more than you do, so obviously I'm thankful for that. And
definitely.
That's why I am where I am today.
So I'm sure he's proud of. He's definitely happy. Like, I told you, remember those words? Because my dad used to do the same thing. I'm like, okay, I don't really want to. But then once you start seeing you're getting better and better, it's like, okay, like it's the work I'm putting in is coming into fruition. But so then going back to Puerto Rico, what made you want to leave Puerto Rico to go to Florida?
I think it's a mixture of a lot of things. I think economically, like I said, my parents maybe weren't in the best situation at the time. And then my dad kind of got a somewhat job offer in South Florida. That's also where my uncle, his brother, lived at. So they were like, all right, you can come. We'll help you out.
Perfect,
and then we'll, maybe do a few things together here and there. But also I think my parents realized for myself and my younger sister to get better opportunities, it'd be a lot better if we moved to the U.S. And I think at first, as a kid, I think I was in 8th grade when that happened. I'm kind of like, I was excited to move. I was like something new, but then you don't realize what you what you have till you don't have it. You
don't have it anymore.
And then we moved. And I think it was tough at first.
Was it hard leaving your friends?
Friends and family was tough. I think my closest friends was probably the toughest thing. Because then I moved to Florida. Then I went to high school. I knew no one. The thing is, when you go to a high school, everyone's on the same boat. Everyone comes from different middle schools and they move up. But a few people have their group of friends and here and there. But I think I made most of my friends just from playing sports. And then eventually, I think it took me to like sophomore year of high school to like make a big group of friends that I would feel comfortable with. But the first year was tough also because, I knew English. All the schools I went to in Puerto Rico were bilingual. And like I would speak English all the time. But speaking English in class for like an hour is not the same than having to speak it for 8 hours out of school and type like every single word you say. So I think that was the hardest thing, new language. But, the more you speak it, the more comfortable you get with it. And I think I would encourage people if they get a chance to, like, if they have to move somewhere because of it, like, not to be too afraid of it. Because I think for the most part, the change is for the better. At first, you don't realize it, but then afterwards, you do realize, like, all right, this is good. And I don't think if we wouldn't have moved from Puerto Rico, I would be here at Mason, I wouldn't be as good as I was in volleyball, and I don't think I would have matured as much as I did. So I think I'm glad that happened. In the moment, you don't realize it, but it's pretty good.
That's amazing. So then, when you were in school, you were completely fluent in English because of all the things they were teaching you. That's incredible.
I would say fluent, yes. I remember freshman year was tough. Like, I knew what I had to say, but saying it consistently, every single time, and in every class. There's no class in Spanish. So it's just like, and then I took French that year. So like my easy class was French, learning a new language. But yeah, it took me a while to understand. I remember I was in this geometry class freshman year. Like, I loved math in elementary and whatever. I thought I was really good. And then this teacher just spoke really fast. Like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what? Like, the first week of me being in America. I'm like, what is she saying right now? Like, holy shit. So then I was like, Mom, I can't do this. That was like the honors level. So I was like, I got to drop down to the regular level for this class because she was speaking too fast. And then after that, I had no problem going into it. But
that's good.
It's some funny stories with
that. Good. No, I can imagine. So then when you were going into Archbishop, because you went to Archbishop, which is our rival where I went to high school. That was our St. Thomas.
We're better, but...
okay, whatever you say. Anyways, but did you describe yourself as outgoing? Would you like go out your way to meet new friends, or was it like a mix, or was it like sporting events?
I think at first I was pretty shy. I would say I was shy because... Again, I don't think I was comfortable with the language yet that I could just go up to people and like start speaking and be like, yo, like, what's up?
Let's
hang out. Let's do this and that. I think that was the toughest part. But I think with the sports, with playing soccer, playing volleyball, and then I did a little bit of beach volleyball on the side, I was comfortable there. So then there I started making all the friends. And then I started becoming friends with their friends. Because, we were friends already.
Mutuals.
I think those sports definitely helped me out. But I think it took me a year to become outgoing. And I think now I'm pretty outgoing, I would say.
You're outgoing. But so once you came to South Florida, what would you say you were missing a lot from? Like 3 things you miss from Puerto Rico.
I would say obviously the family, being able to see my grandma or my grandparents. I'll tie that in with friends too, like family and friends. Being able to see them every weekend. I think the food was also a big part, even though South Florida tries its best to carry on the Latin tradition of really good Hispanic culture food. But in Puerto Rico, you could go and grab a really good plate for $8, $9, and in South Florida, it's going to cost you like $20.
Oh yeah. For a good plate.
For a good plate. And then you have to go like to Miami to find like the authentic stuff. Like if you go to a small shop in Miramar, like it might be good, but it might not be as good as it used to be back in Puerto Rico. I think that. And then I think in an aspect with sports, even though I think sports in the U.S. were better in high school, but there's a thing in Puerto Rico that they do for tournaments for basketball, volleyball, and soccer. Which is, so you know how in high school in Florida, you just play your regular season games. You might go to a tournament here or there, but it's just all regular season games during the week. So in Puerto Rico, they have regular season games. And then every weekend, each school gets to host a tournament. It's like a 2-day tournament or like a 3-day tournament where it's just a single elimination. And you get to go to another person's school, and they do like pep rallies. They have like food stands, food trucks, and just like all the guys and all the girls from the school, the fans just go to every game, and it's like packed and loud. And like people enjoy watching like high school sports then. I think that's a part in volleyball at McCarthy and just Florida as a whole. It wasn't as big as it was in Puerto Rico, so I kind of missed that. I wish Florida would kind of implement that, like a tournament. Let's say like a tournament at St. Thomas one week, and a tournament at like Cypress, a tournament at West Broward, and then a tournament at McCarthy, and just so on and so forth. And then you can just play more games.
Competitive. You're being competitive.
I don't know. The more games you play, I feel like the better it gets. The more you have a chance to be a better team. Like, let's say if you're an underdog, if you play them 5 times, you might beat them once. And then you're like, I just the number 1 team. So I think those are the 3 parts, but I think the biggest one, I mean, the food and the family got to be. Is
there any food recommendations you have in Florida? Because
So
I'd love.
if you ever go to Puerto Rico or Florida,
Yes.
but let's talk about Puerto Rico. If you go to Puerto Rico, you got to try a mofongo, which
Okay.
is kind of like plantain.
Okay.
And then you can get it with anything you want. You can get it with steak, chicken,
Okay.
Seafood, shrimp, fish, whatever you can get. Like it's like mashed plantain. It's like mashed. Imagine mashed potatoes, but it's plantains.
Okay.
So you get mashed plantains and you put inside whatever, and then we use our so-called mayo ketchup, which
Okay.
people call it different things over here, but we call it mayo ketchup.
Okay.
You put it on top, and that's really good. Arroz con gandules, which is just rice. And like peas, but it's a different type of, not the green peas. It's like a different types of peas.
Okay.
And then in Florida, where would I eat a lot? I mean, there was this Italian place I liked a lot. It might have been like John Smith something.
Okay.
I can't remember, but the pasta and the pizza
Really
were great.
good.
And it was like, I mean, Anthony Cole's Fire Pizza
Oh, yeah.
is also really
Yeah,
good. I like
yeah.
There's a lot of places, but on top of my head, I can't remember now. It was a while ago.
Yeah.
But I'm going back in like a month, I think.
Have you had Sicilian oven before?
I have not, but I know. I've heard of it.
That's a good place. But do you know how to cook?
I'm learning
Okay.
slowly, surely. I think living here the last 2 years by myself with like a few of the guys on the
Right.
team, I've had to learn to cook. I've gotten a lot better. I would say, obviously, I'm really good at breakfast.
Right.
It's really easy to do.
No, you can mess up
You
breakfast.
can mess up breakfast, but I think I've gotten pretty good at that.
That's good.
And then with dinners, I'm becoming better. I think and I have to become better because next year I'll be living
Right.
by myself. Next
Right.
year the plan is to go to Europe.
Okay.
That's where I'll be at. So I'm gonna have to cook a lot.
Yeah,
but,
for yourself,
yeah.
and you gotta cook what you like.
Gotta cook
so
what
you
I
gotta
like.
learn. You
gotta
gotta
cook
learn
my
how
own
to do that.
things. Gotta ask my mom.
No, definitely like living on your own has definitely taught you to you got to do stuff, cooking, like cleaning. It's just essential.
What do you cook? What do you?
My favorite thing to cook is teriyaki chicken. I just loved it with white rice. I don't know. It's just my teammate Tessa. Her mom made this chicken teriyaki with like pulled chicken, and I tried it one time, and I was like, I have to learn how to make this, and every time it's good. Like I can have it like 3 times a week. It's just so yeah. That's my favorite thing to make right now.
Is it as good as her mom's or?
It's getting there. It's getting there. I think I need more practice, but it was just, I don't know what she did. I don't know if it was just that one time, but then she did it again and it was as good, but I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there. But that's definitely something I like to cook. I like cooking like different pastas too, like tortellini, cheese tortellini, but yeah, I'm trying to learn. I want to learn to cook like Haitian food and Jamaican food, but you know, that's a new
just
level.
hard. You need the right ingredients because
Yes.
like you can't just go to Walmart and buy
You can't.
Haitian
You
or
can't.
like Puerto Rican
You can't.
items because then it just doesn't turn out the same.
You can even in Fairfax, like I know in Florida, you know, they have those little hole in the wall shops where you can get those different things. But here you can't do that in Fairfax. Like I don't even know if you can do that in the DMV. Just go to those types of stores, you know?
Maybe DC, but
Yeah,
probably not.
not Virginia. But anyways, okay, so going back to Archbishop, did you feel like you were always a leader on the team when you came in? Did you feel like you had to like assert yourself, show them, you know, you can play?
So I think so. Archbishop back in the day, I don't know now, but they didn't have scholarships.
Okay.
So I was on a scholarship. It's like an academic
Yeah,
scholarship.
yeah.
My grades were good,
Okay.
but they weren't allowed to like say like, oh, this kid's on like an athletic scholarship.
Right,
But
right.
Basically, I was
It
on
wa-
for
yeah.
both sports. So
Right.
it was like a almost full scholarship for both soccer and volleyball.
Okay.
So I think the guys on the team all kind of knew already. Like, all right,
He's good. Yeah.
Gotta be something
Yeah.
pretty good. And the year before I got there, they won states for volleyball.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
So I was kind of excited. It was
Right.
like the first time ever winning states,
Right.
or missed that first or second time winning states. And the team was good. Most of the guys were coming back. And I came in and I was good.
Yeah.
I just wasn't as experienced as the other guys.
Right.
But the guys knew I was good and I had potential. So they
Right.
kind of just took me under their wings and they were like, all right, you're gonna do this, you're gonna
Right.
practice this, you're gonna get better at this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think slowly but surely I did, and I started becoming a leader. I think towards my sophomore year, I
Right.
kind of knew, all right, this is my team now.
Right.
Which is very similar to Mason right now. But
Right.
yeah, and then for soccer, it's a funny story. So the first tryout, for some reason, I was able to go to the first one because I had volleyball.
Okay.
Freshman year, the second tryout, but it wasn't a tryout. It was like a practice.
Okay.
And it was at 9 a.m., but for some reason I thought it was at 10 a.m.
Oh, gosh.
So I wake up at like 9:30. Or, no, I wake up at like 9. And my dad's like, all right, let's go at like 9:30 to go early.
Yeah.
And I show up, and the guys were already practicing.
Oh,
and that was like my
gosh.
first time there. I knew no one. It was like August. I was like, I did not know the coaches. The coaches didn't know me. I knew like one or two of the guys from like the first week of classes. And I'm like, my dad's like, why they're practicing? Like, my dad got pissed at me. He's like, you gotta like know your times better. You gotta be paying attention to your schedule.
Right.
And I was like, oh, so I kind of just, my little self. I was like 6'2" at the moment, freshman 6'2". I kind of waddling through to the field, and the coaches are like, I'm like, oh, like I thought it was at 10.
Yeah.
And the coaches just start dying of laughter.
Really?
And they're like, just get in, whatever. Whatever. Went to the third tryout, and then I made the team, and I actually started a lot. I was a starter freshman year for soccer.
Okay.
But I think for both teams, I would say I was pretty much a leader.
Right.
From sophomore year onward.
Right.
I think freshman year for everyone is more like a
and you're still
curve.
getting acclimated from being from another country too. Like it's not like that's easy either. So
so I think most of the guys understood, and then sophomore year I think I was like, okay, I know now what I have a year under my belt. I know what I have to do, and I know what we have to do in order to win.
Right.
I think my freshman year in volleyball we lost, and high school we lost in the regional finals. Sophomore year, I think it was the same, and then junior year we ended up winning, going to states and like losing in the semifinals or something. So and then senior year was COVID,
right.
So we didn't get a senior year, but we should have won senior year.
Wow, you were like on the come up, and then it was supposed to be that time. It's okay, but so you played soccer and volleyball all throughout high school,
all 4 years, and then obviously I had started getting recruited for volleyball, and then. When I looked into Mason, I remember I talked to the coach. I was like, oh, like I also play soccer. He knew I played soccer. Like, is there a way I could do both sports at the same time? And he
is that something you really wanted to do, or you were
I really wanted to. I wanted to be playing soccer, even
Okay.
though I didn't play in any academy or club in high school. I was like, I think I'm still good enough to like start at volleyball and like maybe be like just practice player or like a sort of walk on, because I knew my scholarship was going to be for soccer, for volleyball. So I could kind of walk on to the team or something. And the coach was like, yeah, like you can try and like email the coach, but I wouldn't care. And like, if you're good enough, like, yeah, you can do it. Right. Then I remember like emailing the coach back then, which I don't remember who it was, because it was different. They've changed coaches. Like the men's teams here has changed coaches like 3 times. Yeah. And I was like about to do it, but then I realized like it was going to be way too much. It's a lot of like, volleyball. We practice every day and work out 4 times a week. Yeah. So I don't know where I would fit in the soccer in it, but I don't know. Maybe
because the 2 seasons are different, but I mean off season for volleyball and off season for soccer, like. It's just it would be too much. But I mean, props to you doing 2 sports in high school, like especially at Archbishop. Archbishop, if you don't know, like that's a top level high school for not as top as St. Thomas, but they're up there. So like just to be able to do both, that's amazing. So going throughout high school and you're starting to think about college, when did that process start?
So. Like we talked about, I played up. So my 16s year, which I should have been playing 16s, I played 18s. 18s, okay. So, but usually for volleyball, they start recruiting when you're 17. Because for women's volleyball, you can get recruited when you're like 15, 16. Okay. There's like the rules different. Right. Nowadays, I think it's changed. But now back then for men's, it had to be your junior year of high school. Okay. Okay. So I was a sophomore, but I was playing with juniors and seniors. Okay. So I went up to this tournament. It was the nationals for men's volleyball, like the biggest tournament for club. And I played really good. We played some of the top teams, some teams from Hawaii, some teams from California, and we ended up winning. We were kind of like the underdogs, just winning, like a Cinderella story. Yeah. And at those tournaments, there's all the coaches, all the UCLAs, Hawaii's, BYU's, Penn State's, Masons, all that, are just there watching. And from there, I think that one tournament, they're like, all right, this kid's
Right.
pretty good.
Right.
He's 16 or 15 back in the day, so he has time
Can
to
imagine,
develop
right.
and get better.
Right.
And just slowly but surely, every tournament they would go watch me. I couldn't send any videos yet, so all they would
Okay.
do was just go watch.
Right.
They would talk to my dad here and there
Right.
because my dad was a coach, so they could talk to the
Oh,
coaches.
okay.
But yeah, they would kind of go watch me here and there, and then once sophomore summer was over, going into junior year, then I could start like getting emails.
Okay.
And I remember I get into my first call with
Okay.
it was with Pepperdine.
Okay.
They like email me like, oh, let's do a call. We can talk to each other. You don't have to do anything, commit or anything. We go just talk, get to know you. So I do the first call at a friend's house because I'm like at a friend's house.
Yeah.
And the coach texts me like, can we talk now?
Yeah, now, yeah.
And I was like, yo, guys, like I gotta
Yeah.
go upstairs. I gotta talk to a college coach.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, like no way, like go up.
Yeah.
And go to the talk, and that was my first call ever. I think from there, it just got better. I ended up getting a lot of emails from schools. I think second semester of junior year of high school, it's when I started narrowing it down.
Right.
So men's volleyball, you have 5 official visits.
Okay.
I went on 3. I went first to USC in California.
Okay.
Then I went to Loyola Chicago, and then I came here in August.
Okay.
Ended up my final 2 schools were California, USC, and Mason.
Right.
And everyone's like, dude, like, come on, you gotta choose USC. Like,
Yeah.
the big Trojans, like big name school, Pac-12, big branding, a lot of money, like NIL opportunities, but that wasn't a thing back in the day. And you're in California, and then you got little George Mason,
Right.
And I think what separated both was I went on my visit to USC. Loved it. Loved the campus.
Yeah.
Loved the volleyball team.
was
Has
nice.
won 3 times. It was nice.
Okay.
Like, but there wasn't this sense of kind of like brotherhood with the guys. And if I'm gonna travel, be 5 hours away from home, I want to feel
that.
like I'm
Yes,
part
definitely.
of the team and
Definitely.
stuff. And I don't know why it was that. Maybe it was the guys back then.
Right.
I mean, most of the guys on that team were cool.
Right,
Like,
right.
I enjoyed
No
talking
problem,
to them
yeah.
and stuff. But I don't know. I just didn't feel like. I don't think I would have hated it there. But I don't know. Then I went on August of my senior year. I went on my visit to Mason. I came here. I don't know. One of my old teammates came here too.
Okay.
So he was
From
playing here
Archbishop?
from a club.
Oh, club.
He
Okay.
was from Tampa. but
Okay.
we were like this. I'm actually going to be his groomsman at
Oh,
his wedding.
that's so
I got that
nice.
news like on my senior night. Like came to watch and then told me that. So
That's so nice.
that's pretty cool. I mean, where life
Yeah.
takes you. But I came here and I hung out with the guys for 2 days, watched them practice, and went to like their house, to the volleyball house. And I don't know, I just felt like they wanted me to be here.
Yeah.
It was a mutual, like,
Right.
dude, like, we're going to take care of you, and
Yeah.
this and that. And, you know, you want to be somewhere where you feel comfortable.
Right.
And then also, the offer I got to come here was
Right.
pretty good.
Right.
Even though the offer I got at USC was a lot, but I think USC for 4 years, if you're an out-of-state student and you don't get no money, it's like almost $300,000. It's like $75,000 a year.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
but I ended up still getting a really good
for you.
offer over there.
Good for you.
But I was like, you know, I think the one here is better, and it's gonna help my parents not have to pay anything. And then towards my sophomore year, I got a little bit of an increase, and
That's good.
now I ended up my last 3 years. It was basically full
Right,
when you
right.
like add academics
Right,
and
right.
in there. So I think in that aspect, I think that was the best decision I made. People to this day still question, like, dude, like, why did you not go to USC? I mean, the last 2 years for Mason, we were kind of like down years. Like,
Right.
our team, we had either 500 seasons, like we would go 14 and 14, or like
Right.
13 and 15.
Right.
So I think sophomore year, we go back to sophomore year, I would think like, dude, did I make the right or wrong decision?
Right,
I
right.
felt like I didn't do the correct decision, but
Right.
I think it was all worth it. I
Yeah.
think this year definitely show like patience.
Definitely.
Patience,
And definitely brotherhood too. Like what you were saying when you first came on the visit here, you guys definitely show that when you're playing. You know, you're together. If you're losing, you're together. And I definitely, even when I'm seeing you guys out, like you guys are very close knit and you guys are a good group of guys. So I definitely can sense that brotherhood.
And just hanging out too, like even win or lose, we'll be like after the game, all right, let's go to a house,
Right.
chat about,
Right.
drink a few beers here and there, but and then even when it just doesn't involve a game or anything, we would on a random Tuesday night, we'd be like, all right, guys, come over, like, we'll make some dinner together, and we'll watch the NBA or we'll watch some Netflix show or whatever.
Right.
So sometimes just hanging out with each other, even though it might seem a little corny or whatever, it's just, it helps the bond and the chemistry. So when you're back on the court, like your boy who's just serving you some spaghetti with meatballs is going to be the one that's going to be serving the ball. And that chemistry helps out a little bit more.
Definitely.
And like I said, it helped a lot this year. I think a lot of guys got accolades. A lot of guys, like, that's what we try to do. And as a senior now, that's what I tried teaching the freshmen and the sophomores. So now that when I leave, they can be the ones that take over the program and take over the team. So
set that standard.
Hopefully I did a pretty good job, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think you did. I think I mean, look at your past 4 years, what you were able to help them do from your freshman year to now being second, in your league. Like that's amazing. So if they're gonna remember Omar, and I think you've been doing a good job with that. But when you came from your senior year to Georgia Mason, how was that transition?
So the college level is a lot different. It's a lot faster, a lot harder. People are serving almost 70, 75 mile per hour serves all the time at you. And guys take it seriously. And one thing I see a lot today with freshmen is they come in and they think it's going to be like high school, and it's not. And they don't find a way to get used to college. And they want it to be their way. And then those are the guys that just end up never playing and never seeing the court. But yeah, it was tough. It was also COVID, so we like never had fans at our games. Practices first semester were like really weird. Really funny story. I'm graduating now, so it doesn't really matter. And everyone, I think mostly, I don't know if you ever told you, but most of the seniors now in athletics know about it. So when I was a freshman, there was an old volleyball house. It was like next to the field house. And that's where the older guys lived. We, first day I arrived from the plane, or from the drive, we drove up from Florida. They're like, my friend, the groomsman I'm going to be for, he's like, yo, like, we're going to have a little party going on at the house. Like, it's just so the guys get to know each other and the women's team gets to know each other. We're like, yeah, like, of course. Like, dude, and my parents like, yeah, go meet everyone. And then it was COVID. We didn't know there was a 10-person rule. So back in the day, there was a rule, at least in Fairfax or for Mason. You're not allowed to be in a closed environment with more than 10 people. We didn't know this, but I guess I didn't know this. The older guys did. Whatever. We go. There's like 20 of us. And then I don't know where there's like a administrator from school, like just on a jog. And just sees us like, playing die and hanging out and red solo cups. So he calls our coach. He's like, oh, your guys there's red solo cups, they're hanging out. This could be a problem. So just call them, tell them to shut it down, and you guys will be fine. Coach calls one of the older guys. He's like, yo, you guys got to shut it down. There's too much noise. There's COVID. You can't do this right now. The senior, he's like, okay, coach, we're not shutting this down. So, yeah, we kept it going. I guess someone
that's crazy
ended up snitching. One of the, I don't know how they found out. Someone found out. We kept it going until like 10 p.m. or like 11 p.m. And then it just became a big deal, big issue. Long story short, we ended up getting like suspended from school because they wanted to like make an example out of us for the rest of athletics.
So they don't do that again.
So no one ever does that again. So
I did not know that.
I went back home for like 2 weeks. Like so we weren't allowed to be on campus. And then so the guys that lived on campus were able to go on campus, and the guys that lived on campus had to go back home. So we show up one day, and then the next day we had to leave. And then one of my roommates from California got that same day and the night after had to get a flight back home. So we weren't able. That was like It was
Wow.
a really rough start.
Wow.
I look back at it now, it's like hilarious because
Yeah.
it's like COVID and like it was all because of COVID.
Yeah.
And we were like 20, 25 people at our house just hanging out.
Right. But it was
Now,
such a big deal
It
back
was such
then.
a big
Yeah.
deal back
yeah.
then, and they were like, they would take it so seriously.
Yeah.
So really rough start,
Yeah.
but I'm glad that happened because I think it's a funny story we're always going to
Yeah.
look back at.
Yeah. And then your
being
groomsmen, you guys
suspended.
could talk about that
And
too.
then now we're here. And
Right.
then I think again it was a tough start, not just because of that, but then you had no classes. It was
Right.
all online.
Yeah.
It
Masked.
Yeah, math classes.
Yeah.
I had one in person, and it was like a dance class.
Oh,
it was
really?
like 7 of us. It was really weird.
Uh-huh.
So I think the first year I was like, I gotta get out of here.
Right.
Not out of the school, but I gotta get out of the campus.
Right,
So I was
right.
living on campus, and I was like, all right, guys, let's go live off campus. And since then, I've been living in a house with
Okay.
5 or 6 of the guys.
Okay.
And this is the final year. It's
Wow.
It's really fun though.
Surreal.
Really fun living with off campus with other guys.
That's amazing. So then, you play for your national team. How did that process start? How is it? What has it meant to you to just be able to?
I mean, it's the biggest thing. As a kid growing up in Puerto Rico, you see, I was 8, 9 years old. My
Right.
mom and my dad would take me to the volleyball games,
Right.
from pro teams over there, and you watch them, and you're like, oh, maybe one day I'll get
Right.
there.
Right.
And like everyone always says, so like maybe one day I'll get there.
Right.
Like, and then you start playing, you're like, oh, I'm pretty good. But
Right.
you never think of like you're gonna get there.
Right.
You kind of think it in your mind or whatever. Sophomore year, I had played a few tournaments with the junior national team. But the junior national team in Puerto Rico sometimes can be a little like political,
Okay.
like not the real thing.
Okay.
Sometimes it's not taken seriously.
Okay.
So then sophomore year of college,
Okay.
I'm here, and then I get a call out of nowhere, like in August, like, oh, we need a few guys. Like something had happened. A few of the guys couldn't make the tournament
Right.
or the roster. And would you be interested? And I was like, yeah, of
Of
course.
yeah.
So I texted all the professors, emailed them. I was like, I can't be here for a week and a half. I'm going to compete. And they're all, yeah, of course, go do that. Like, you can submit the assignments like a week later or
Right.
whenever you want. So I go straight from here. The tournament was in the Dominican Republic.
Okay. Okay.
So that was my first ever tournament with the senior national team. And I played pretty good. I played most of the games, but I had this game against the USA
Okay.
that I played really good in.
Okay.
And I think from there, just everyone saw
Right.
a little bit of what could be.
Right.
So then they were like, yeah, like, stay healthy. We'll contact you back in the summer. Summer comes around. I play most of the tournaments, or I travel to most of the tournaments. I play a few, but, I'm still like 20 years old, 19 years old back
Right.
then. Most of the guys on the team are like 26, 27,
Right,
28.
right.
There's a few veterans that are 32, 33 years old, and they're still really good. So I was still learning from them. And then comes around to be that the World Championships in Poland were the next year.
Okay.
So I stay training, and I go to the summer. Summer comes around, I go to Puerto Rico, play some games,
Okay.
play some tournaments with them.
Going
practice
into
the
your
team.
junior year, right?
Going into junior year.
Okay.
And they just called me out. They're like, look, we're
Okay.
going to invite you to come and play at the World Championships.
Wow.
And that was like a big deal because
Yeah.
so the roster, you can only bring 12 guys.
Okay.
And for the other tournaments, you can also bring 12 guys. But the other tournaments, they were switching around the
Okay.
roster.
Okay.
Right, to just see who's going to end up going.
Right.
And at first, I was like kind of iffy. I was like, I might be the last guy left out, which that's like the worst thing ever. If you're like the last guy left out of a roster, you're like,
Right.
it's a 12-team roster and you're the 13th
13th.
guy.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah.
So I just kind of didn't think too much about it. I let the game speak for itself.
Yeah.
And I think I kind of earned a spot to
Right.
be there. And
Definitely earned a
it
spot.
that tournament was so much fun. The World Championships, you got the best. Back in the day, it was 24 teams.
Okay.
Now for next 2025, they're going to make it 32 teams.
Okay.
But the best 24 teams in the world go out. You're all staying in the same
Yeah.
hotel, the same place. You're all playing against each
Yeah.
other. And it was in Poland, and the arena in Poland could fit 15,000 people.
Wow.
And the first match that we watched, it was Poland against, I don't know who it was, Poland against maybe Mexico or something. It was packed. It was
Really?
sold out.
Because
And
of the
that-
host country.
It was
and
the host country. But even
yeah.
the games we played, like we played against Serbia and Ukraine, they like people would come and show up.
Really?
And out of 10,000 people, there was maybe 10,000 seats. There was maybe 7,000 people watching
Wow,
it.
that's
So,
amazing.
Again, in Poland and Europe, volleyball is like the NFL over here.
Okay.
So people love it. People support it all the time,
Okay.
and it's just you experience it as well at the World Cup, at the Women's World Cup. It's the highest level, and you're playing with the highest level of players in the world. It's players. I remember a few players I would grow up watching.
We're there.
On YouTube, like I would search up like whatever hype video, like best kills, and they're there.
They're literally next to you.
And then I'm like walking down to get some food with the guys, and they're sitting right next to us. And you get to have some conversations with them, and then you realize all these guys are normal too.
Yeah.
They're just a little better than you, but they're
normal.
They're
They do the
normal
same
too,
thing you do.
and
They sleep, eat.
they go through the same process you do to get there.
That's amazing.
And I think after then, I've been playing a lot of tournaments. This past winter, I played in Chile in the Pan American Games, which is also really a big deal.
Yeah.
And we won bronze at the Central American Games, which is
for
also
you.
like a big deal for the country. So, I've made my way up, and hopefully now I can stay there.
Of course,
and just see where it goes. But I think we probably both experienced the same feeling of playing at the highest level and in a World Cup. I mean, I wish I could play in a World Cup in Australia. That's kind of sick.
All right.
Tell me a little bit.
Okay. No, but I've always like wondered this with people, but when did you feel like you realized you were at the pinnacle of men's volleyball? Like, when were you there? Was it on the flight? Was it when you were leaving, when you were playing? When did you realize where you were?
I think there was a few occasions. I think there was this game against Serbia, and I guess the Serbians and Polish are kind of rivals. Okay. But we were playing against Serbia, and they were like a top 8 team in the nation, in the country at that time. Okay. We were playing that game. There's like maybe 5,000-6,000 fans, and they're all rooting for us. Okay. And they're all like, saying like Puerto Rico, whatever, and just like chanting different things. And you look around. I didn't get to play that game. I was on the bench, but you still look around, and you're like, wow. Yep. And then I think it was the next game against Ukraine that I went in. Okay. And once I stepped in, and you look around and you're like, holy crap! Like this is it. This is it. Yes. A few other things like when you get off the plane, you see all the people, the journalists,
welcome and
whatever. And then when you're on the bus and there's people waiting for you to get to the arena. Yes. Then like the locker rooms and all the merch you get, like just everything you get is pretty cool. Yeah. But I think the experience is just afterwards you realize like, wow, this is it. Yeah, hopefully definitely. I get to live it 1-2 more times. Of course, yeah. Same with you,
I'm hoping
a couple more World Cups.
That's definitely something we're gonna remember when we're like 90, 91, like just being at that experience, even if it never happens again. Just being able to we've always talked about it as kids, going to the World Championships, going to the World Cup, but to be able to experience it in the moment, I don't think I realized until after, like, wow, like that, that happened. But what are the next steps? What are your goals? I know you said you were going to go play in Europe, so congratulations.
So last time we did this, I was still on the process of figuring it out. I was still in season, so in volleyball you cannot, or I think NCAA, you're not allowed to sign with an agent or a club before your season's over. So now my season's over. It's not publicly out yet, but it'll be out, I think, in a few days. So by the time this podcast comes out, I just signed with a team in Spain. Nice. It's called Teruel. It's like an hour and 15 minutes-ish from Valencia. Okay. So kind of like by the east coast of Spain. So it's facing the Mediterranean. Nice. And the process was pretty interesting. I as a college student, and a college graduate, I'm not expecting to make too much money. Like coming out, I'm expecting all I want to do is play. Right. So then, season ends. I'm talking to this agent I signed with, and like a few of my other teammates in Puerto Rico worked with them. And she's like, oh, like whatever. We have a few different like places that are interested. A few of the countries that I could have gone to were like Germany, Finland, maybe France. And I think so. In volleyball, the top leagues I would say are Germany, France, Italy, Poland are like the top 2,
Okay.
3. Russia as well.
Okay.
Spain is a really good league.
Okay.
And it's getting up there.
Okay.
But I don't think it's still up there compared to other leagues. So my thing is I want to play as much as I can my first couple of years.
Okay.
So I can get better, have good film. So then after my rookie contract ends, I can go and sign somewhere else for more money, but not even the money, just a better league and a better team.
Right.
That's competing for championships.
Nice.
So this team basically just contacted me, kind of like called me, like, you know, we're looking for an outside, and you fit what we want, and you might be the guy. So sat down, talked to my parents, talked to the agent really quick, and just made the decision.
Good for you! Congratulations.
So yeah, that's gonna be cool. I think I have to report mid-August.
Okay.
I'm not sure yet, but I don't know. We'll see.
Good for you.
Getting to live in Europe and stay for a whole full year.
You speak Spanish.
I speak Spanish.
So this is perfect.
That's a great start.
Yes.
But I don't know. I'm excited.
Good for you.
I guess one of the check marks, dreams come true. Check mark, go play pro in Europe.
That's amazing.
And hopefully, I don't know how long I'm going to be there, but maybe hopefully till 10 years.
Yeah.
Hopefully 10 years. That's a plan.
Good for you. I'm happy for you. That's amazing. See, like this is it was meant to. We had to do this to talk about. We need
it to let the people know.
No, that's amazing. Good for you. I'm excited for you. And what would you say you're the most outside of volleyball? You're the most excited for?
I think the new friends I'm going to make, that's going to be really cool.
Yes.
I think different culture. I love exploring different cultures and getting to live in a different country. It's gonna be really sick. Food in Spain, I heard, is really good.
Oh,
and
definitely.
No, I've never been to Spain, so I actually don't know.
Yeah.
All my friends and my family members have gone, but I've never been. So I'm excited to just try new things.
Yes.
Live in a different country. Use a different currency.
Right.
And then I don't know. I mean, it's gonna be my job.
Right.
But it's weird. Like, it doesn't feel like a job. So I have a few friends that are graduating now. They're going to go into either like a 9 to 5 or like a real job. Right. And I'm not saying this is not a real job. Yeah. I'm still going to be making money. Right. But I'm still playing the sport I love, and I'm still doing something I love to do. And it's very similar to college, kind of like I'm going to wake up, practice in the morning, go lift in the afternoon. And then after that, maybe practice again. And then after that, you have nothing to do. So then I'm going to have to find a hobby to get into. You will. It's a lot of free time. They tell me there's a lot of time you kind of have to just reflect and think about, take naps, watch shows. But I'll find something cool to do. And the city is like it's not like a Barcelona like or Madrid where it's like really big and a lot of things to do. It's kind of like a smaller-ish city. Okay. But I feel like there's still going to be hundreds of things to do and explore. And, and people, to me, I think that's going to be the best thing, like the friends I'm going to make. Yeah. The same way I made a lot of friends here at Mason.
Wherever you go.
Friends I'm going to make. I think that's going to be really cool. And then I'll get to travel to play to other countries in Europe. Exactly. So it's a little bit
those flights are literally cheap to go to like France, England, Portugal. You can just go wherever you want for like $90. So that would be amazing.
A few of my teammates here are looking to play pro. Okay. They're still in the process. Okay. But yeah, they might be right there. One flight away from me. I think one of them might go to England to do like a master's over there. So like England to Spain, a flight is probably like $50.
Literally not expensive at all. That's perfect.
So I'm excited for that.
Good for you. Well, that's amazing. See, an amazing story. Omar's, I told you guys in the beginning, he has an amazing story, but it's been great having you on this. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
No, I mean, I'm glad I was able to come back and do this again. But I wish you luck in the future. I know you maybe you're gonna keep doing the podcast. Yes. If not, yes. What's the plans for you now?
I mean, I always want to continue at this. Like you're saying, your hobbies. I feel like this is my hobby. Yeah. But I want to play professionally. That's a goal of mine. So just once I finish with my master's and seeing those options. But yeah, that's definitely a goal to be able to do that and continue to do what I love. So.
That's always the most important thing. Doing what you love. Yeah. Doing something that you love, even if it doesn't mean you're making millions of dollars. Right. But if you're doing something you like, something you love and you feel happy, then
Right.
that's all that matters in life.
There's just so many things, I love. I mean, even with my major too, when you're in college, you're learning about what you love. It's not just English, math, history, and I really have a lot of passion for my major too. So, you never know what happens, but
I know what happens. But I'm glad to be here. I'm glad I was able to be part of the course podcast.
Yes.
And we'll keep in touch.
Yes, we will. And when you're in Spain doing big things, we're going to be supporting Omar.
Let me know if you're ever in Europe and
yes.
you need some Spain recommendations of anything, or if you want to come watch a game.
Definitely.
I'll be there.
Yes, I've never been to Spain. I hear it's a beautiful place, so I'm happy for you. Good luck to Omar, and it's been great to have you on here. But make sure you guys follow him on all of his platforms. They'll be in the description. Make sure you stay tuned with all of our episodes. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on all of our platforms. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Peace.